I understand. I've got two sons. There's no way in hell I'm raising them to be tolerant of situations. You have to predicate it on the fact they have situations and entertain women because we are the only one that's practicing how insanity where we entertain the same things that we complain about. You do know there's thin lines in it. That's the whole point of the idea of having thin lines, and there's a very thin line between you entertaining certain and certain situations don't just come about. There have been, like Mr. Justin said, there's been little things that happen, and you've actually had to be in a position where you're overlooking so much things to for it to be like that. But if a woman's talking down to you, shouting, disrespecting you, and thing like you're saying, investment in the children, that's not something that the children need to be seen as on any level, even on a minute level. That's something that should be tolerated. Period. So if we pull it back, I can understand where your idea, um, where you're getting it from, and that's the whole premise that everyone tries to use because of the way society is. But if we had practiced it the other way in the first place, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. And that's the whole point that Mr. Johnson is saying. Is like that you have to understand that you teach people how to deal with you. Like I'm not staying with no man or having a man or entertain my children when you've got children that they're supposed to tolerate certain things that are deal breaker. Because, like you said, a woman's ethic, woman, people can only change according to how they want to change. You can't change people, and this whole idea of you being in a position to change people, like you said, by their ethics and their true character, by their soul, then your whole premise of this whole rudder correction that is nil, and it doesn't make no sense, brother, because no matter how much you try and correct them and you're trying to punish them, you know that your true character always prevails over everything. And that's what I'm trying to say. And what me being 39, I'm very less tolerant, even when it comes to friends, come to people. I'm very less tolerant of the fuck shit on that basis. And it's not going to keep me it's not going to keep me single, because then I'm going to be able to be in a position to weed out, and I know exactly what I don't do and don't want. We go into this relationship not knowing what the fuck it is we do want for what the fuck we don't. And the lines are so blurred and everything. We try to put lines where they don't belong, and then try to remove them as and when we see fit. When from where I am, where I'm less tolerant of certain stuff, I'll be able to know what the fuck it is and be able to look for that anomaly that you're talking about, that one guy that is rare. But until then, in this day and age, that radical correction doesn't work, except for the same premise as a simp, where you're going to be entertaining a little bit, allowing a lot, and then trying to correct the little. That's basically the reality of the extremity of the world right now.
Okay. Okay. I kind of understand what you're saying. So let me ask.
Take that
Uh.
foot out your heart, nigga.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna try, Brian. You know, it's hurting me. Let me ask the men a question. Right. Is a woman like a pet? Yes or no? Oh, now you
Yes.
niggas ain't got nothing.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I didn't unmute fast enough. Yes.
Yeah. It's
But
a
it's
big.
not just a pet, right? It's also you knowing what this person can add to what you need. So, like where you mentioned ethic, like I don't care about the ethic. What I look for is she coachable, right?
But
And
that has to do with her ethic.
that has to do with her. Like I don't really, I get confused with like ethics and morality and shit
I
like
don't mean
that.
ethics like proper. I'm talking about like what she's about. That's not her intentions.
Women
That's what
are
you.
human beings,
I,
you
I'm just
barbaric bastard.
I don't like I don't know I don't get into detail. I just look like is her behavior and her character coachable, and then over time I do little ramp ups and shit to see how coachable they are, where the limits are, and if I hit a limit, then it's like do I cut that off or do I like redirect or like what choice am I going to make at that point?
Someone,
But it's just like that's what I look for at that point. Like I'm looking how coachable is she because that's all that fucking matters to me. Like because yes, I am good. There is a bit of a pet in there, but once I see that they're coachable and they take instruction really well, like depending on the level of the instruction, because it'll get more and more like I wouldn't say intense, but just more involved. Then I know I can put her to task, and she's gonna fucking click her heels, be like, "Yeah, let's do this." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I no, I get that. But when I say like her ethic, I'm really saying her intentions, like her intentions for being in the situation, her intentions when she's, you know, what I'm saying doing whatever. Like, what's the intent behind it?
you're never gonna know.
That's not true.
That's why I'm always looking at what is the behavior, how coachable is she, and
You can
how
so you don't think
malleable
that
is her mind.
you don't think that you can investigate and ascertain a person's intentions.
Yes, you can
I'm not. That's
do it
just me. Like I'm
with
not concerned
yourself.
about it. Like I'm just like, are
And
Okay.
they coachable, and
But
how
this is
malleable is
the
their
reason
mind?
I'm concerned about it, bro, is because like I understand, bro. At some point, like the reason these kids are fucked up is because men really sat there and tried to believe that as long as they're masculine enough and strong leading enough, who their woman is doesn't matter. Like who the person that's raising your children, you know what I'm saying, all you have to do is just have a solid enough structure, and no matter who she is, she if she respects you and you're, you know, whatever, bro, alpha, whatever you want to call it, that woman will just fall in line, bro. Like, and this is the thing, she'll fall in line in front of you. But women are responsible for a few things. One, they're responsible for the intelligence of your children. That is largely, that is a woman's role, and I'm not just speaking on that because I think that you can research that. That's what the research says. Then women are responsible for transmitting culture, ethics, and values. So if you're dealing with a woman that doesn't have those types of structures within her, truly, when she raises your children, she gonna raise a bunch of fuck niggas. She's gonna raise shitty children, and there's no amount of leadership that you can implement to stave that off,
Cap.
unless you literally
But
take the
No,
children
no,
from them.
I
gold.
disagree. Like I'm a father of two, and those things that you listed, I
That's cap.
implemented those things
So gold.
because I didn't know what the fuck she was gonna do. So I'm like, look, this is the fucking culture. This is how you're gonna approach shit. Like I taught them all that
I
stuff.
mean that do you have custody of your children?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a shared custody. I'm not gonna like just take them away for no
But
reason.
what this that's like I said, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying, to be determined. I'm not like saying like it is that for you. You know what I'm saying? It's like
Well,
like
I
this
mean, you said there were like
it's
studies and shit. I'm just saying, like, I'm a
yeah,
parent
like
here.
the intelligence of your child is heavily determined on the mother, and we all know how important intelligence is to just basic anything. And then also the values, that is also heavily determined by the mother. So even if you teach a child something, that child, you like, that's what I mean. Like that child at some point fuck around and rebel just based around the implementation of what the
I'm just
mother
saying the
does.
problems that my kids come to me with, like the experiences that they have at school, and watching how they've dealt with it. It's based on the shit that I've taught them.
I get that.
You know.
Yeah, I get that, bro. I'm just trying to let y'all know, bro. A woman is not just like a tool, bro. Like that's a person too, bro. She's
Who
gonna
said
fuck
that
that
though?
shit.
But gold. The
You-
I think what needs to be put in the picture is the fact that what you're saying is not completely false. But the problem is it's not. It shouldn't be your burden to try to teach or mold someone towards what you want them to be as the mother of your children or your spouse. Your position is if they're not showing you some consistency towards standing up towards those values that you hold as a man and
Mm-hmm.
towards those plans that you have as a father to your future children, there's no reason for you sticking around that woman, because the truth of the matter is no matter how much you teach someone, no matter how much you try to change someone, they're only going to do it if they want to do it intentionally by themselves.
Right.
So you trying to press on them or trying to mold them into what you want them to be could lead to some form of quote unquote disaster in the future when they get tired of performing according to your needs.
Yeah. No. And
So so
that's
so
not.
you as a man have to practice some that discernment and
Mm-hmm.
uphold your values in terms of making a decision if you want to stick with a woman who is either not showing you that they're going to be a good mother to your children based on the values you want to instill on your children, or you making a decision to walk away and
Right.
meeting your wife, because the saying goes, he who meets a wife meets
A good
something
thing.
good. Yeah.
Terry, I wanted to ask you. Because I wasn't saying that per se. Like, you know, mold a woman who's not something into something that she isn't. I was more so saying a woman who has the intentions, right? She has the desire to be upright. Um, but she's improperly trained, right? Like socially, she's just not socialized um where she's applying those principles to her social, to like the social aspects of her, because that's why relationships fail, because y'all can't communicate well. um
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
so if you got a woman who got good intention but she improperly trained, you're going to implement consequences for the times that she displays improper behavior, right?
Oh, definitely, definitely.
That's all. That's all I'm saying. All
Yeah,
I'm saying is like find a woman who means well, and more than likely, because of the world we in, she's going to be improperly trained, in terms of how to actually go about social interactions, in a efficient manner. So when she gets beside herself, because we all know women are emotional. Even Vern said a woman gonna try you no matter who she is. I'm pretty sure Prophet Muhammad's wives tested him. Then you implement instances of reward and consequence in order to condition that behavior out of that woman, while also explaining to her why you're doing so that she really understands it and she carries it on when you're not with her.
definitely, definitely. I 100% agree with you. Now, when you look at it, what you're talking about is a woman who is willing and open to learn from you as a man. And we know that just based on the fact that men are more critical and more analytic with how they look at things, you are someone who has your purpose ahead of you and have certain values. There are things there's a baseline you will be looking for as a man, because we all understand that women are not 100% perfect. So if you're able to establish that baseline based on, let's say, her upbringing, and a few values that you see in her, how she carries herself, how she interacts with other people, maybe she's lacking in one or two things, and you know that if those two things are worked on, she'll be the perfect match for you. Then hey, definitely put in the effort towards teaching that person what they don't know about you, or what they would like to know about you, in order to be a suitable mate, and a suitable parent to your children as well.
I
So what
agree.
what
That's
yeah,
why I
what
was saying
yeah.
that it's got to be, you got to see if they're coachable. Because you could see like, oh, they got these great traits, they got this thing, they got a nice upbringing, but they may not be coachable to you. So you got to check and see, like with little things, just see like, oh, well, can they take direction and do they follow it, and not take like 5 hours to do shit, like that thing with the phone call and deleting the old friends and shit. Like that's a sign right there, not coachable.
Oh yeah, definitely, Coach Justin. It's one of those things where, as much as us men can be strict with today's modern women, I think we definitely have that understanding that if someone has a good, solid, let's say a solid foundation or a baseline, you can work with it. Now the difference comes in when that person is 100% not willing to learn from you, as someone who's trying to, work with them in making sure that relationship between you two is beneficial to both you and your future generation. So I agree. You both are pretty much speaking the same thing, but I think gold is being a little bit more too analytical and deep with the criteria that he's talking about.
No, I agree. Yeah, it's it's just, bro. I recognize. I know what I want. I know how I want my children to be raised. I know the type of impact I'm trying to leave, bro. And just when I speak to these women, their head isn't even in the space, bro, for me to even consider taking them on as somebody that I would let help me with that mission. They don't have the sauce. They just don't have it. So that's why I just know that shit is not easy to come by. So when I hear dudes saying, "Oh well, if you come by a woman that got that type of sauce, but if she start acting up and I say something to her and she's out of here," I'm like, bro, every person I've ever heard say that suspiciously has nobody. Like they have no one.
But
And
I think Vern is actually okay with being a bachelor, though. Like
yeah,
I don't think I've ever heard him say, "I want a solid woman
Men,
to like
men.
live out my years with." And that's just him. That's him.
okay,
That's a game he wants to play.
yeah, no, I
Now,
agree.
but
I
the
agree.
arts you brought, do you think in 2022 most women is not their characters just because they're not social? What did you say? They don't have the social. It's just due to them having a lack of correct social skills. Is that we? Can we
Yeah,
say?
that's why most relationships fail, because women don't know how to actually go about a social interaction, in a non-selfish manner. So like I even watched my little sister do this to my father, where she just comes up and starts asking him for shit without asking what he got going on first. Things that men just don't do.
And
Like,
he's not correcting her.
no, he
He's
does.
not correcting the behavior.
No,
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I said like the first thing that I
but
look
but
for
her
beyond the
atti- but hold on, when he corrects her, and this is the thing, Coach Justin, I said that you can't control. When he corrects her, her attitude about it is like exacerbated.
then
She
it
doesn't
then he's
she
got to
doesn't
just keep at it. Like it just if he just folds and be like, oh, I guess that didn't work,
not,
then it's
and that's what
just
I mean. You
continuation of that. That just
keeping at
says
it. Okay,
this
my fault.
behavior is okay.
Okay, but I think, bro, keeping at it, like keeping at the explanation, like that doesn't really work. Like
No, not
people need to
explanation.
actually.
I mean what I mean by saying is like you if you're the dad like tries to correct the behavior and
Mhm.
then she just amplifies it and then he's like, ah, all right, I guess that didn't work, and it just goes back to whatever he's doing. That will just increase that behavior.
Yeah. So
Like it
so
doesn't make it stop or it doesn't redirect it. It just keeps it going and makes it more.
right. So that's my thing. So what he would do is like, if you don't come to him in a proper manner, whatever you was asking for is just not even on the table. So you'll come to him in the correct manner, but this is what I notice happens as a result. There's a resentment there, and that's why I said no amount of leadership can adjust for that. That has to do with her
And
character.
that's part of the game of being a leader is not everyone's gonna like you,
And that's my
including
point.
your woman, including your children, your friends,
So, Coach Justin,
people that
what
work
do you
for
think?
you.
What do you think staves off resentment? Like, what do you think keeps a person from developing resentment?
Well, I think part of it is that other thing I was talking about with positive reinforcement. So it's a constant game, especially like the heads of children because they're so absorbent of information. So it's like, yeah, you got to be on top of it so that you're constantly training the positive behavior and out training the negative
You
behavior.
don't wait, but don't you think what neutralizes resentment is understanding?
That's part of it too. So you got to understand why they're behaving a certain way
No, no, no.
and
I
what
mean,
sets them off and things
I'm
like
sorry.
that.
No, no, I'm sorry. I don't mean on his part. I'm saying what neutralizes resentment, and you go to the gym and you work out to get bigger muscles. Do you resent the process?
Well, no, I
Right.
trained
Because
myself to enjoy it. Yeah.
right, because you understand it. Like you don't resent
I
things.
see, I see what you're saying. The other person to understand it. Yes, and
Yeah.
it's a trick to get children to understand certain things because usually it's beyond their capacity for understanding. So
And it's also beyond, for a lot of things, it's beyond a person's ability to simulate the circumstance that would make them, because people don't understand things through explanations. They understand things through experience.
yes,
That's when they really gain the value of it. And so and
that's
so
why. Remember my example of when I was
that's
punishing that
but
that
that's the
one
only reason
lady.
I was saying punishment works in that form, because you can simulate the value through punishment, where I might not have the capability, the articulation, or whatever I'm lacking. Sometimes it's not even that you're lacking; it's just that what's trying to be explained is not
It's
realistic to
not
that.
getting in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
right.
that's why I suggested like in my example, I said after she had good, like some good orgasms and now
Mhm.
she was relaxed and open, right? Because everyone's defenses are down, they're feeling good, they're in a positive behavior, their brain's full of fucking feel good chemicals. That's when I laid in on the explanation. So be like, hey, now you understand, and now she's fully accepting, and she's not. I'm not gonna get any fucking attitude after she's been fucking blown out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's the time to go in with the reasoning and it goes in a lot more easily.
Yeah. No, I see what you're saying. It genuinely. I mean, I'm gonna be real, bro. It does scare me to think like man, you're not gonna get it. You'll do it, but you don't get it, because that there's no security in that. And because of that, bro, I'm trying to find a way to help a motherfucker understand some shit that outside of me. Like
Well,
I
well,
should
a lot of it
I
comes
shouldn't
from upbringing, goal.
I
Because so
shouldn't I
if a
shouldn't be
girl
the.
doesn't have a dad
Mhm.
and who has never shown her any kind of structure, or if her dad was there and he was a fucking wet towel and a yes dear, and so therefore she's not getting any structure from him either, there's no positive imprint. So now when you say hello, my name's Gold, you're already starting at a minus. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there has to be a positive male role model in her youth, whether it's like an uncle